Hey everybody, welcome to Tokyo. You're looking at a live view of the Sumida River. That over there is the old Tsukiji market. You can see they're going to be a lot of construction going on. They're going to be putting in a new, like a mega outlet stadium type of entertainment center. And of course, this Kachidoki Bridge leads direct to Ginza. And if you look at the sky, we have what isn't a typhoon, tropical looking clouds. A lot of the news about Japan has been about the weather. So today we're going to talk about the weather, and I'm out here sharing this beautiful day with you as well. Yesterday I introduced that typhoon number 10, that's what we call it here in Japan. Internationally they call it Shanshan, is on its way towards Japan. It looks like a big one. Every year Japan gets many, I'd say at least something like between 10 and 15 typhoons that make landfall all the way from Okinawa up to Shikoku and Tokyo as well. Those typhoons, sometimes they'll turn to the left and go to Hong Kong. Sometimes they'll stick around the Philippines. Sometimes they go north. Sometimes they go out to the Pacific. Sometimes they hit Japan, and sometimes they don't. And they'll go on to Korea. And you know, I guess when it comes to typhoons, Japan is Korea's best friend because we often will take the edge off of some of them. But big ones do get to Korea as well as Japan. Now, typhoons, when they make their way towards Japan, they're typically weakened. So yesterday when I said that typhoons are weaker than hurricanes, in general, by the time that the typhoon comes to Japan, they are. The velocity, the edge on it is not as high because of the waters. They're not quite as warm up here. However, this year, they're quite warm, so we're getting some powerful looking storms. Now, the course for this has changed. This is interesting, okay? I'm gonna pull this up for my friends at Hiruobi on TBS. You can see they're looking at the course. This was like last Thursday. You can see they have the course coming this way, all right? And then 24 hours later, the course changed again to this, all right? 24 hours after that, the course started to pick up like a leg there, and now you have it coming around here. And then 24, and I'm showing this for a reason here. I thought it was so fascinating. And then 24 hours after this, we got this. Then 24 hours after this, we got this. I don't know what that is, but it looks like a leg, and now it's not actually going to be coming through Osaka. So that's the point of that. So we get kind of warped. But the point is, like, the models will change over time. So when I got a ton of questions, and rightfully so, from tourists that are coming in, they're flying in September, they're flying in tomorrow, they're flying in, they're in Osaka, and they got to get a Shinkansen back up to Tokyo. Look, this is very important for me to announce when these kinds of massive weather changes are coming in, but you cannot alter your plans based on a storm 3 days out. And it's not your fault for not knowing this. We're locals, we kind of live here in Japan and are so used to typhoons hitting all the time. You have to keep an eye on the news. You have to be looking at this to plan your trip. And if you don't know that the typhoon is coming, that's a problem. So what I did yesterday was tell you, and I said you cannot predict the way that the storms are going to be moving. The models can change, but it's expected to hit on Tuesday. Now the model has changed where it's coming a little bit in a different direction here. Let me see if I can bring up a map here. So this was on NHK. I'll pull this up a little bit bigger. So you can see that the typhoon is expected to approach Japan on Tuesday. This is a little bit older, but this was done today. The model is changing so quickly, it's really hard to predict. That's why you need to keep an eye on the weather. You see the leg now, it's coming, instead of going more up towards Osaka, it's coming around towards Kyushu and then up, and it looks like it's going to be hitting on Thursday instead of Wednesday, possibly Friday in Tokyo. We just don't know, which is why you really need to keep your eyes and ears on the news and be looking at how the typhoon is going to be impacting your travel. And NHK is reporting, this was this morning, that they expect Shinkansen delays on Tuesday. I would say that could be Wednesday or Thursday. Keep your eyes and ears on the websites. You just have to be following this really strongly. And again, you see on the right side here, Japanese news. The websites are all updating this constantly for Japanese residents here You can see the storm is coming, so everybody knows about it. So I'd say every couple of hours, everybody's talking about it here in Japan to see the trajectory, how this is going to come, how it's going to impact them. Not so much in Tokyo. It doesn't look like the impact is going to be very strong here, but it looks like it's going to be coming in through Kyushu and Shikoku, which gets so many typhoons. Kochi, which is like Japan's wall. I like to say Kochi is like, it's an amazing prefecture where the city of Kochi is on a flat land, and then it goes, and then there's like a mountain wall behind the city of Kochi and sort of the entire prefecture of Kochi, which is like the wall of Shikoku. This is the typhoons hit there and they kind of slow down, or if not, they're completely stopped by the power of Kochi. But in this case, I don't really know yet. So this is the model that they have here. I don't know why it's all stretched out like this. Let me see if I could pull this asset back in here. So the current model is as such. Let me get this up here. That's not working too well. But it's going to be coming in through Kyushu instead. This is the one, the latest one before that. So it's just shifted a little bit to the left. And it might shift even more. That's the hard thing about the typhoons. Now, the news was pretty thorough this morning, and this is why I really love the news. Here you can see, oh, here's a good one here. So this is from the Japanese news. You can see it's kind of shifted where it's gone a little bit more west, and it's going to be coming up through Kyushu. And look how big the target areas are now. So they're just not sure. The reason they do that is because they don't know. This is what the models are telling them, the computer models. The typhoon actually went to the most western model, so now we're seeing this change. And you should change your trip accordingly. And I think it was important for me to follow this up with yesterday's live stream to be able to help you out with this as well. Look, I got messages, this one just this morning, and you know, I feel it here. This comes from Pax on Instagram. Hi John, I'm arriving in Tokyo this coming Wednesday afternoon. Should I be worried for my flight to get canceled? Look, I think you have to understand that typhoon season, and I've said this like many times before in the past. I don't know if you guys are regular viewers. I think if you are, you probably have known. Typhoon season means that you have to keep an eye on the weather. This is from any time, I would say like the middle of June till the middle of October. It could go a little bit before and after, but we usually get powerful ones August and September. And yeah, you should be concerned about your flight being canceled, but there's not a lot that you can do about it. All you can do is check 24 hours, call your airline if you're not sure. I think you're going to be able to see that Tokyo is going to be okay. But I just don't know. And that's why it's really important to be on top of the weather, because, you know, in typhoon season, even I'm planning around this kind of stuff as well. If I have trips out there, I'm always looking at the weather a week out. If I have a permit to go film in another area of Japan, I'll talk about this with the client or with the restaurant that's giving me permission to film and say, is it okay if we delay a day or two, or we come a day early? If they say yes, then I can alter the plan and then call them and say, do you mind if we come today? And sometimes it's a last minute thing, but I think you have to, as a traveler, plan in the exact same way that I just described on how I will plan a location shoot for my channel. You know what I mean? Hey, Bryant Vu is here. Hello, long time no see. Hopefully the typhoon won't be too bad for everyone in Japan. Say hi to the family for me. You got it, Bryant. Kanai and Leo will be happy to receive your warm hello. So thank you so much for that. If you're watching now, this is a live stream. So we have the live stream chat right here going by, and I'll try to take some of your questions at the same time. While I'm doing this, I want to also talk about some of the things that they were talking about on the news as well, which I thought was really interesting if you want to look at the Japanese point of view. Yeah, make sure you get your laundry out. This is exactly, Donna, thank you for that. This is exactly why I'm going to bring this asset up here. So according to the news here, like, I love the way that they bring this stuff up here. So this is, make sure when the storm hits that you unplug electronics and things like that, because you just never know with the lightning. This storm apparently has a lot of lightning and it's slow moving. Make sure you have food supplies for approximately 3 days that they wrote here, some canned goods. It's the same thing for any disaster, but you just don't know the intensity of the storm, how it's going to hit yet. So they're saying people should have this, and we always do for the earthquake protection here. They also say, you know, if if it looks like it's going to be a strong one, you might want to stay away from the windows as well as tape them up like you see here. But an interesting thing that maybe a lot of you don't know about is this one right here. We often, after we take a bath, we leave the water in the bathtub overnight. I know that might not make a lot of sense, but if there were to be an earthquake or a disaster, we would have water to put in for the toilet or for various reasons that you need water in case the water was not around for a long time. We have a bathtub full of not so clean water, but it's better than no water at all, which we could use again to flush the toilets and to do other things in case we needed that. So we often have one person, 1 day's worth is 3 liters of water. The bathtub, we usually will fill that up with water, and in the morning I release it, and then I scrub the tub out. Not everybody's going to do that. That seems to be my way. I don't even know if that's the Japanese way, but I leave the water in there until the next day. And you can see they also had about what the house should do, bring in all of the stuff around the house and things like this, because that stuff flies around. It can be quite dangerous. They also talked on the news, this is important, about the current situation with transportation, and this is what a lot of you might be most concerned about. The Shinkansen looks like they have here on the top with the Shinkansen icon, if you can't read Japanese, the Tokaido Shinkansen, the Sanyo Shinkansen, which is the one going from Fukuoka through Osaka, and then Osaka to Tokyo is the Tokaido. They look like they're going to be impacted. Tohoku Shinkansen, Yamagata, Akita, the Joetsu, and the Hokuriku Shinkansen. Looks like there's going to be some issues, but we just don't know yet. There are going to be some delays. We thought maybe Tuesday, but it looks like it's been moved and shifted because of the course change from Wednesday to Thursday. Just keep your eyes on JR, and I'll keep you updates on our Discord server, on Instagram stories, on this channel has a community setting, and maybe I'll make some posts, but I don't have to make a video about it every time. But I want you all to be updated, and also to watch NHK World and some of the other news sources. Kyoto News is one I have bookmarked. You guys know that I love them. JAL flights starting Tuesday through Wednesday in certain areas, and ANA, we say ANA or ANA, from the 28th on Wednesday to the 29th. It looks like there's going to be some delays. We're just not sure. It's possible. Also on the highways, if there's heavy rain, they might not let you on the highways. So it just depends. They might try to get everybody off of the highways because, again, people are speeding and you can't predict the winds as well. They want everybody to slow down, and possibly those might be canceled if you're driving here in Japan. So there's a lot of things that you have to consider. Again, in Japan, we're kind of getting prepared for something, and we're not sure exactly how. But this morning when I looked up the trajectory, the course was quite different than it was 24 hours ago, and I thought that was worth coming on here and talking to you about it. Yeah. Any questions? You can also, by the way, this is interesting. If you just look at Typhoon Japan, Google Maps also will give you the latest up-to-date stuff here. This switched me into Google Maps, and I can see the course of the Shinkansen changing here. So I think if you want to use your Google Maps app as well, you can see and zoom in and see how this thing is going to hit. Again, they don't know. That's the bigger circle means the course could change based on models, and it takes you up here, and eventually on Thursday and Friday, the course includes Tokyo to some extent. So there's going to be some impact. But again, like it could go over to Korea, but we're seeing here on the news, they're kind of explaining to us why they're predicting it to go the way it was, and then why it didn't. Let me see if I can pull up that asset real quickly. I thought it was fascinating when they made an effort to try to explain this. See, I pull this into the, so you can see here. So yesterday on the 23rd, which was a while ago, the fronts were just different, right? You can see that red area is where the typhoon can't go. It's being pushed in a certain direction. And then on Monday this morning, you see that red area, which is the typhoon is being pushed. It's being pushed more to the west. And you can see it's not going to go up to Korea because there's another system that's keeping it away from going in that direction. So the typhoon's going to be shifting to the right towards the east with that red one, and it's going to protect Korea most likely. And that's why they got that leg looking hitch I love the fact that they showed this graph because it makes it really easy for you to understand why the typhoon is going in the direction that it's going. And all this information makes me think that it's going to be coming in through Kyushu, and the model is close enough now that, yeah, it looks like Kyushu and Kochi are going to get hit pretty tough. I think it's about 130 miles per hour winds or something like that, 180 kilometers per hour. We'll see what it comes down to. I'm not sure if it's going to weaken or strengthen. I'm not a meteorologist, but I studied this in college, and I was very in tune with it because I love the weather. I love geology. I love the study of the clouds and the formations. And my teacher for this class at Ohio State was an incredible teacher as well. I can't remember his name. But he brought a lot of passion to the subject. And I remember, and I got this comment earlier. Sorry, not from PAX. I got another comment on the live stream from yesterday. Let's see if I can bring that up here. It's a little cheeky. It said, "Typhoons are not alive. It's weather. How can anyone take you seriously if you don't understand science?" Well, my professor happened to say that the Earth is alive. It's always in constant movement. Thus we have earthquakes. Thus we have weather changes. We have these clouds that are moving. A typhoon, and the reason why this person is wrong, and I think that it's important for you to realize that typhoons are kind of like, they're not a living human being, not in that sense, but they're a living, they're something that is born out in the sea from moisture and temperature conditions, and it grows. As it eats the moisture, it comes over land, it changes directions, it has a personality, it even has an eye, if you want to look at it that way. And it tries to survive. And these are all like human traits, by the way, as well. And then it goes eventually out into an area that it can no longer survive, and it dies. It's very much alive. So if you don't look at typhoons as being living, it's just a storm, it's unpredictable. And that's why you really have to wait until you're about 24 hours out before you make a prediction. And anybody who tells you differently, they're giving you really bad information. You just can't predict exactly where a storm's gonna go. They have models that give you very good. Does it have emotions? Yeah, it does. It's angry. It's got lightning, it's got wind. Basically, a storm is all pissed off. Very, very rarely is a storm like a good thing. It's basically like, I don't know. It's not a good thing. I could have said something, but I checked myself. It's still the internet after all. So it literally has to be troll, or somebody who's a teenager and doesn't know what they're talking about. I think it's important for you to see that the Earth is alive. We have earthquakes. You can't predict it. The thing is, the Earth is like billions of years old, and we're like, average age of humans is like what, in 78, 80 years old. So we think of things relative to those 70 to 80 years that we're alive. More like 100 for people in Japan in some respects. But for the Earth, it's billions of years old, so they're not on our time. But the media likes to put it into our time so you can comprehend it, but honestly, we can't. Weather, though, is more like easier for us to understand. It's always moving. It's a living thing to me, and you have to have that point of view because it's always changing. I get all my weather updates exclusively from John. Sam, really? No. Thank you for that, though. If you really do, next time I see you, I'm going to make sure that, do you really do? Over here, we have Tokyo Tower. This tower is hit by lightning all the time, less so with the very tall buildings around it. And you can see the new Azabudai building to the right. That was not, let's see if I can get my finger into it. That was not there before. So it's interesting to see how the Tokyo skyline is moving. And on the other side, I can see the Tokyo Sky Tree. So I do like this point. And this Tsukishima and the for those that are visiting, Tsukishima has a lot of really good hotels, but there's a lot of cockroaches in there. I just want you to be aware. It's an old area. Despite the fact that they're new hotels, it's still not really the cleanest area. I would say you're better off going in this direction towards Shintomicho and Hachobori, which is more like my neighborhood. It's a little bit newer, cleaner, away from what used to be the fish market. I'm not a big fan of Tsukiji. I think it's a tourist trap right now. It's not a negative thing. I think it's just a reality thing where prices are high. 95% of the people there are tourists. The other 5% are the Japanese that are working there, and even then, it's not always Japanese that are there. I'm not a fan of Tsukiji market anymore. If you want to get a Wagyu stick, go to the supermarket, and cook it yourself maybe, because I'm not paying 10,000 yen for a quote-unquote Kobe beef Wagyu stick, which I don't think I saw the certificate for Kobe beef listed out there in the front, and that makes me really suspicious. Tourists, if you're in Tokyo, Kobe's so far away, the closest Wagyu brand is Hitachi beef, I would say, but there's a couple of Tokyo Wagyu brands in the west from the Okutama region. I know this stuff. I might be the closest thing. I might be something of an authority based on all the times I've been to Wagyu farms and all the episodes I've produced over the years. So just be careful on the when someone says Kobe beef to you in Tokyo. It might be, but that Wagyu is the number. It doesn't really matter. Don't pay more because it says Kobe. That's the point. All right, everybody. And I just got a message from Pox. I appreciate it, brother. So I don't know if that was a positive message. Oh, he says, thanks a lot, my guy. You're very welcome. I just got an Instagram message. I'm glad that I could help you out a little bit. I try my best to be able to respond to you on Instagram, but the best place to maybe is Discord, or if you're a Patreon supporter, you'll be able to get a response. Because, you know, I have to put my time into those that are supporting the channel a little bit more, just because I can't reach everybody, and that's why I make the live streams like this. I really appreciate it, guys. I'm working on a square watermelon video that I'll be releasing on the main channel. If you want to, you can call in right here. You can leave me a phone message as well. We don't get too many of them. I got a couple that I'm going to play in the next podcast type of episode that I do on this channel. And then if you're interested in getting a postcard, you can get one here. Support the channel. I really appreciate it. We had 5 new signups in the last couple of days. So what is all this flashes? It reminds me of a 1990s website. Like, get rid of this stuff here. Yeah, I appreciate the support, guys. So our postcard club is growing again, so I've got some good ones. This month is the square watermelon, and it's a pretty cool one. It'll come out from Tokyo. It'll probably get to you in about 10 days. And if you don't receive it for any reason, I will just usually send you another one. So it's not a big deal. I know that sometimes post offices don't work well with postcards and it doesn't make it to the final destination. I send you another one. We double check the address, get it right, and it arrives the next time. So no worries. It's a fact of life. It's just amazing, isn't it? How I send you a piece of mail from Tokyo and it makes it right to your mailbox. And it only costs like, I don't know, like the stamp's 100 yen. They keep raising them. By the way, stamp prices are going up in a couple of months from 84 yen to 110 yen. It's crazy. But it's still, it seems like a cheap price for connecting from me to you. I signed them all. You know, I got your address on there. It's still fascinating how mail gets from one side of the world to the other so fast. Something better than a bill. I just watched it up the construction site. They do that in a lot of places because I guess maybe it's not because of the typhoon, because it's certainly going to dry before that, but there's a wind in the air, and by wetting it down, it keeps the sand down, the dust going into the city. So that's why he's doing that. Probably river water. I don't know what he's using. All right, everybody, have a good day. I'll give you some more updates. Look for me on Instagram stories and on YouTube community tab, as well as other social media, as this typhoon comes in. Shanshan number 10, we call it in Japan. Shanshan, according to the Western media. And if it wasn't alive, why does the Western media give it a name, huh? Just saying. Gotta have that kind of approach with your trolls. See you, everybody. Have a nice day. Mata ne.